What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Dark Outpost, and it continues to get worse for Cyberpunk 2077 as CD Projekt Red executives were forced to answer to their investors in the aftermath of the outrage from this launch, in the aftermath of their stock dropping 30% since the launch of the most hyped game of the last decade. After CD Projekt Red executives were forced to admit that they lied, that they deceived, and that they manipulated their fan base in order to get their money prior to the launch of this game. And you can see right here, here's one of the headlines. There's a ton of headlines today after the transcripts of this meeting came out. CDPR admits it, quote, ignored the issues of Cyberpunk 2077's console issues. A lot more was also revealed. We're going to go through some of the very important parts of this meeting that took place. We have the entire dialogue right here. We're going to pick out the parts, but major things, they admit, right? They admit to their investors that we didn't pay attention. We didn't give enough time to the console. We ignored the issues because we wanted to release this game regardless of what kind of condition it was in. And they, of course, say that they're sorry. This doesn't line up with their business practices, but it's hard to ignore the fact that just a few weeks before, the same person who was coming to them saying this came to their investors and lied to them and said that it's running surprisingly well on console, when in reality, they were told about all these issues, decided to ignore it so that they could launch the game and get your money. And as a result, we've seen what has happened to the stock. Like I said, over the past 5 days, it's down 25%. When you look at where it was, just a little bit before that, this was the peak right before launch. People were so hyped and excited about this game, regardless of all the delays. People forget about the delays when it's time for the game to actually release again. People were hyped for this. And then we found out that they lied to us. We found out what they did, and it continues to fall. It is still hovering around $20 per share right now. It is a sad state of affairs for CD Projekt Red. But let's get into what they actually told their investors this time. I wonder if anyone can actually believe what they say right now. This is from Adam Kaczynski. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the call. He says he's the joint CEO of CD Projekt Red, and this is to discuss the situation about the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. There's also a bunch of other people here as well. Some of these names I know, some of them I don't. So Marcin Nowinski, the joint CEO and co-founder, and Michael Nowakowski. I've heard those names as well. We released Cyberpunk 2077 4 days ago. The game had a strong opening. We got positive feedback from players enjoying it on stronger machines, PCs, next gen, and Stadia somehow. But the initial feedback from those playing it on oldest last gen consoles is way below our expectations. Well, it's because you set those expectations when you lied to everyone about the performance of this game. When you didn't provide any review codes for it on console. You knew exactly what the fuck this game was going to do. You're trying to back it up. You're trying to say we're apologizing. We understand. We didn't mean for this to happen. When in fact you knew it would happen and you did it anyway to get people's money. That is the bullshit involved in this. CD Projekt Red's a team that puts all their efforts and hearts to deliver amazing games. So how is it even possible to come to this? After 3 delays, we as the management board were too focused on releasing the game. We underestimated the scale and complexity of the issues. We ignored the signals about the need for additional time to refine the game on base last-gen consoles. It was the wrong approach and against our business philosophy. On top of that, during the campaign, we showed the game mostly on PC. Saying that you lied to people. You didn't show them what it looked like on the consoles because you knew it was bad. You say it's against your business philosophy. Well, yeah, sure. That is against what you have preached this entire time. But if it's just a philosophy, if you clearly do these things just for the money, then your philosophy doesn't matter a whole lot, does it? You can say it goes against our philosophy, but it's what you fucking did. This caused the loss of gamers' trust and the reputation we've been building through a big part of our lives. That's why our first steps are focused solely on regaining those two things. We are concentrating on fixing Cyberpunk on last-gen consoles. I also want to do this as well. If I'm talking about time, we have this week, we have last week, and we have next week. When I'm referring to things that are happening this week, I don't say last week. I don't say last gen. What I say is current gen. That is because right now, The majority of people that are playing this on console are playing it on current gen, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. There's approximately 165 million of those consoles out there in the wild right now, whereas the next gen consoles, you have about 5 million. The vast majority of people are playing it on current gen technology. You continue to try to make this thing a last gen, but that is not the case. It is current gen. PS5 and Xbox Series X, those are next gen consoles. But you want to make it seem like, well, it's just your fault for playing this old machine, even though you marketed it to them. You sold it in a PlayStation 4 box and an Xbox One box. You always intended for this game to come out on these consoles. And for a lot of people, it runs like shit. Now, personally, I have a PC and I'm having a pretty good experience, to be quite honest with you. I do have some bugs and glitches and some performance and FPS issues. But let's step away from this for a second. Take a look at this. This is captured on Xbox One. Look at the frame rates right here. You're talking about frame rates that are in the teens. In the teens. Let's look at some of this. This guy's about to get a head blown off. Look at how jittery this is. This is actual frame rate. You're talking at 16, 17, 14, 13, right around 15 frames per second at less than 1080p right now on Xbox One. Very similar things happening with PlayStation. Right? I think this was from IGN when they did their analysis. You have things like this where it gets jittery as well. It's like literally stuttering as it got down to 13 frames per second. Now, they did come out with the 1.04 patch, but it didn't really improve frame rate on Xbox One. Not in any meaningful way. It did to some extent on PlayStation 4 with the sacrifice of textures, which now takes sometimes 20 seconds to load in. It's an absolute embarrassment. But let's continue. Let's see what their answers are, because they do have a couple answers to questions that I think is important to know. Couple of questions, if I may. First, your earlier comment about the board being too focused on delivering the game and ignoring the problems with old gen. Should we take it you had found out it was very important the game shouldn't be delayed, or simply you had always wanted to deliver the game and not delay it and you underestimated the extent? Right here. First, your question about the focus and cause of ours ignoring, so to speak, the shortcomings of the current gen version. Finally, someone admits it. Current gen, not last gen. Thank you very much. It's more about us looking, as previously stated, at the PC and next-gen performance rather than current gen. We definitely did not spend enough time looking at that. I wouldn't say we felt any external or internal pressure to launch on that date other than the normal pressure, which is typical for any release. So that was not the cause. And then they talked about how they got it certified on these different platforms. And they take blame for that. They're like, listen, I think that Microsoft and Sony assumed that we would get it fixed. Well, they didn't get it fixed. They decided to sell $60 games on those platforms. And we should talk about refunds a little bit right now, because it is not as easy to get a Cyberpunk 2077 refund as CD Projekt Red suggested. And in fact, in this thing, CD Projekt Red revealed they don't have any refund agreements with Sony, Microsoft, or retailers. Now, I saw a lot of people giving so much credit to Cyberpunk for saying this yesterday. Wow, look at that. They're saying you can go refund the game, guys. Look at everything's solved. They lied to us. They manipulated us. They took advantage of the goodwill of their fan base, but it's okay. They said you can get a refund if you want. Well, a lot of people can't get refunds. Now, Lethal Lightning, he said he finally got in touch with someone from PlayStation and said in 5 days he should get a refund. But a lot of other people are unable to get refunds on PlayStation. They got told to go fuck themselves. Some people on Xbox got told to go fuck themselves. Steam, go fuck yourself. Now, they can control GOG for sure if you bought it on GOG. But what about physical retailers? I went to a GameStop because I bought a PlayStation 4 version of this game as well that I pre-ordered before I got my gaming PC. I went to return that yesterday. Got told, no, we don't have any idea about that. That's not our policy. CD Projekt Red hadn't said anything to us. And in fact, that's what CD Projekt Red admitted. So even though here they make it seem like, yeah, just go refund it, guys. We understand you're mad. They said right here, for copies purchased digitally, please use the refund system of PSN or Xbox, respectively. Guess what? The vast majority of people, they are not giving them refunds for that. For boxed versions, please try first to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Well, guess what? If you've opened it, they don't accept the returns. GameStop offered me $30 for my store credit, $30 store credit if you want to return it as used. No thank you. So I am going to be following up. I sent an email to help me refund at CD Projekt Red. We'll see if they can help me. And if they do help me, I'm going to give them complete credit for doing what they said that they would do. For once, CD Projekt Red would do what they said they would do. And here's that question. I have 3 questions. First, regarding refunds again, I was wondering whether your console partners, Microsoft and Sony, will by any chance participate in the refund, or is the financial burden yours alone? The question is whether Microsoft and Sony are participating financially in refunds. One has to understand they have refund policies for every product that is released digitally on their storefront. By that, he means if you have downloaded or played the game, you can't get a refund. That's what he means by that. These policies are, here it is. Despite several articles I've seen that said the refunds are being set up just for us, it's actually not true. These policies are in place and have always been in place. They're not offered specifically for us. Anyone who has purchased any title on the PlayStation Network or Microsoft storefront can ask for a refund, and if it's made within certain boundaries, usually related to time usage, so on, can ask for a refund. Well, in fact, they can ask, but they won't fucking get one. Basically, if you've downloaded, if you've played it, you're fucked. So thanks for that empty promise, CD Projekt Red. That really means a lot to so many people. And then one other thing I wanted to say was they tried to excuse away the fact that, well, we weren't really trying to hide it from everybody. We were just working on it to the last minute. Someone asked about not showing the console versions. We've actually shown console footage, but never on the last gen consoles, the ones that you were marketing it as. You don't even have a next gen game. You don't have a PS5 Cyberpunk. You have a PS4 Cyberpunk, but you never showed that gameplay. The reason is we were updating the game on last gen consoles till the very last minute, and we thought we'd make it in time. Unfortunately, this resulted in giving it to reviewers just one day before the release, which was definitely too late, and the media didn't get the chance to review it properly. That was not intended. We were just fixing the game into the very last moment. That is bullshit, because even on the PC version, when you had a big day one patch, they let people review it with the caveat that, hey, just so you know, these are the things we're planning on having in the day one patch. That is fucking garbage. Another lie from CD Projekt Red when they're trying to be transparent. That is bullshit. They could have done exactly what they did on PC, but they didn't want to because they knew they would get massacred for this game. They continue to try to spin this. They continue to try to deliver these empty promises, words that people want to hear them say. Look, they're apologizing. Wow, should that make you feel better when somebody bends you over and fucks you in the ass? Did they say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean to do that. I'll do better next time. And some people are accepting that, some people aren't. Either way, CD Projekt Red has a lot of work to do to regain that reputation that they once had, that reputation that they took advantage of to fuck the customer. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. I'll talk to you guys later.